Hi everyone, welcome back to the next diecast. In today's video, I'll be unboxing and reviewing this 1/24th scale Infiniti FX45 made by Maisto. I got this model from eBay for around $22 in total, including shipping and everything. I thought it was a decent price for a model that hasn't been made for quite some time, and I was ultimately glad to find it. It does not come with the original box, but I will be doing an unboxing of it nonetheless. You can see it's all wrapped up in this kind of paper right here, so I'm going to go ahead and take all that off. And then you can see here's the FX wrapped up in the bubble wrap too. The orange version looks super cool, even wrapped up like that. We're going to go ahead and unravel this next, and then we'll take a look at the model. All right, there's the model all unwrapped. I think the orange is a very cool color on here. It really does stand out. Maisto did make this in a few additional colors, but I think the orange looks the best, especially paired up with the saddle-colored seats and everything, so I was glad to find it in this particular color scheme. Just got to clean it up a little bit, and then we'll take a closer look at it next. All right, let's take a closer look at the Infiniti FX45 by Maisto. So again, I got this for around $22 in total, including shipping and everything. A little bit higher than I would usually pay for 1/24th scale car from Maisto, but I figured in this case it was a good price because this is quite an interesting model and kind of hard to find now. Maisto made this particular model from around, I think, 2005 until I want to say maybe 2017 or 18, if even that. It came in a variety of different colors. This orange that you see here with the kind of saddle-colored interior. There was also a white version and a silver version, which are actually the two most common versions, if you can find those, as well as a darker kind of metallic blue version. And Maisto also made a model kit version of this car in kind of a dark red with a red interior. It looked pretty cool, and that one is fairly scarce compared to the regular pre-built versions of this particular model. So it is going to be kind of harder to find. If you were able to find one mint in boxed on eBay, you're going to probably expect to pay at least $25 for it. This one didn't have its original box, as you saw, and it was around $22 in total, including shipping and everything. I think it was maybe like $17 or $18 I paid, and then plus like the shipping and everything. And it is pretty much mint, although it didn't have the original box. And the orange one is kind of uncommon compared to the other colors, or rare, I should say, because the model in general is uncommon, and certain colors of the model are pretty rare, including this orange and especially the red model kit version as well. So this is based off the 2005 model year of the FX45. Now, the FX45 is different from the FX35 in the sense that the engine is a V8 for the FX45. The FX35, I believe, had a V6 or something like that. But aside from that, they're pretty much identical in terms of visual looks and everything. And of course, you do have the FX45 or 35 badge on the rear hatch, as you see here with this model. And Infiniti introduced this particular vehicle in 2003, and they produced it until 2017 in two generations. And it was renamed at some point in its second generation. I believe it was QX70 or something like that. But I think this is a pretty cool car. And I think it's a unique kind of crossover. And it is credited with kind of starting the, coupe-shaped crossover craze that we continue to kind of see to this day. So we'll see how Maisto did with this model. We'll take a look at the details and everything. We'll start up here with the front. I think the overall look and shape of the model is pretty spot on. Maisto, I think, did a great job in that sense. In the front here, you do have the nicely sculpted headlights and front grille. Of course, you have separately cast plastic pieces for all three parts here. There is a peg in each of the headlights, but they do kind of hide it a slight bit with like that bulb there and everything. And I think the headlight lenses are nice and flush with the body, as you see here. You do have a separately cast chrome plastic grille in the center here. It's not a perforated grille, but I think it still looks good nonetheless. And then down here you have a plastic front bumper with those two fog lights. The fog lights are just painted on in silver, but at least they're kind of a reflective silver. Kind of looks like the actual lights that you would see. Paint quality on this model, I would say, is very well done. This is a metallic finish paint, so you kind of have that sparkle effect to it in certain lighting. There is a minor imperfection on the driver's side, as you can see right there on my model, but yours probably won't come with that defect. And I can probably get it off in some way. It might just be like I think it might be just like a clear coat thing. I bet if I touch it up with clear coat, it'll look a little bit better, but you probably won't get that on your model. And aside from that, the paint, I would say, is definitely flawless. Nice and smooth throughout. This really was when Maisto was beginning to vastly improve their paint quality on their models. That began kind of in the early to mid 2000s, and this model was made around that same time. So that is very cool to see. On the side here, Maisto did a good job with these wheels. These are the standard wheels that you would have seen on the real FX45. You have the Infiniti logo in the center of each of the wheels as well. These are not mounted on single axles like you would see for newer Maisto models, so they do kind of bow out a slight bit like that. So you got to kind of push them in like that, but they do roll smoothly. If this were to be re-released today, you would get kind of stronger axle mounts on here. But aside from that, though, I think the wheels and tires are quite well done. Nice sturdy side mirrors are done in separately cast plastic pieces, and then you have the painted on silver door handles, which should actually be chrome, but at least they do paint them on. And then you have the kind of the rocker panels down here. You would see this as kind of separately done plastic pieces if this were the real car, but on the Maisto version, they're just painted on in gray, but not a big deal. You have these chrome roof racks up here. Believe it or not, these were actually included on the real vehicle in chrome. I guess to kind of add a little bit of like a fancy touch to it, I suppose. But Maisto does do a good job with those. Of course, these are plastic and not metal, but I think they do a good job with kind of the overall shape and look of them. In the back here, nice job with these taillights, accurate shape and everything. Yeah, you do have kind of a big peg where these reverse lights are, but you can't really see it from like a far distance. And they also did a good job with the badging back here too. That large Infiniti logo is up there. And then you have kind of that Infiniti inscription on the liftgate handle back here as well, which looks very well done. And then the FX45 badge is done in silver. Of course, both these badges will be chrome on the real vehicle, but at least Maisto does them in silver and kind of like a reflective silver. And then you have that New York license plate back here too, which is a cool touch. Cheap looking exhaust pipes, but it is a 1/24 scale car, so you won't see that much detail in that sense, so not a big deal. Now regarding opening features, you do get an opening hood on this model, where you will see the V8 that the real vehicle has. And the engine is just kind of one single plastic mold, but that's what you would usually see for a 1/24 scale car from Maisto. Not that much depth, but there is some coloring going on. You do have that nice raised up Infiniti badge there, along with that V8 4.5 liter back there. That's why it's called the FX45 after the 4.5 liter V8. And the 35 would have been, I think, for the 3.5 liter V6. But there's the engine of the model. Not really a whole lot to see aside from that. But I do like how Maisto put an opening hood on here as opposed to an opening rear hatch. If they were to re-release this model today, you'd probably only get opening doors and no hood. Maisto's been kind of doing away with the opening hoods on their 1/24 scale vehicles, unfortunately. But this is made back in the 2000s, so you do still get the opening hood. But I would say for a 1/24 scale car, the engine is pretty well done. Of course, as I just said, you also get opening doors on the model. They're a bit loose to open. These are kind of early spring-loaded hinge doors that Maisto was doing. And back then, you know, you could really, like, they move around way too much. If this were to be redone today, they'd be much stronger doors. Not saying that they're going to pull off or fall off, but you just got to be careful when you're opening and closing them. You can't just, like, snap them shut, or else the springs might wear, or else, like, the spring might wear down and everything. But aside from that, at least they do open. Speaking of the doors, the door panels, I think, are fairly well detailed. It's going to be kind of hard to see here, but there is some texturing going on, kind of like a leather pattern, and you have kind of that two-tone look. You got the saddle going on down there, and then you have the black on the upper portion of the door panels. So I think Maisto did a good job in that sense there. Taking a look at the interior of the model, I think Maisto did a good job in here. You can see that kind of leather pattern going on the dashboard. And then in the center stack, you do have all the buttons actually painted on, as well as the GPS screen sticker that says Infiniti on it. And then you have the nice molded in vents as well. And the steering wheel looks pretty well done. It is a bit on the small side. I think it should be a little bit bigger in proportion to the rest of the dashboard, but you do have that Infiniti badge in the center along with the molded in buttons, which look very well done. And then you do have the silver center console down here. Not too much detail on there. The shifter does look a bit, fake and everything, but at least they put that in as kind of the proper silver color you would see on the real vehicle. So I think Maisto did do a good job in that sense. And the seats, I would say, are very well done. They actually go to the trouble of molding in the Infiniti badge and inscription below the headrest. It's going to be kind of tough to see. You can kind of barely see it right here from this angle, but Maisto, I think, does a good job with that. And the overall looks and shapes of the seats are accurate. And they even do a good job with the back seat as well. And the seat backs do move just a slight bit. They won't really stay in place or anything, but I do like how Maisto includes that feature. And the seat backs are a bit on the thin side. I feel like the real seats will be a little bit thicker, but I think for a 1/24th scale Maisto interior from the early to mid 2000s, they did do a good job with the details in that sense. So overall, I think Maisto did a good job with this model. This is the only larger scale model you can get of the first generation Infiniti FX series. And if you can find it for a good price, I would say definitely get it. This is going to be hard to find, especially the orange, blue, and red versions. The white and silver versions are kind of more common because Maisto made those, I think, up until the end of the model's run. But regardless, you are going to pay upwards of $30 for any of these Infiniti FX models from Maisto, depending on if it's mint in box or what color it is painted in. So if you can find one of these for a good price, I would say definitely get it. It definitely is one of Maisto's more kind of unique models from the early to mid 2000s. And I think it's a unique vehicle in general as far as the world of crossovers goes. So feel free to comment down below with your thoughts on the model here. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.